Are your headlight wipers not working or parking like this one is? In this video I'm going to show you how to fix them so that they actually work. Because these wipers, they basically just stop working when the car comes out of warranty. So every time I see these Volvos, I never see the headlight wipers work. So on my car, I fixed them. I have my 98, this is my 99, and a 2002 with headlight wipers. I fixed all of them, and they work. And you're wondering, well, if you fix all of them, then, well, why? What's wrong with this wiper? Basically, there's an adjustment screw when you take it apart, and I adjusted it when the battery was low, which caused it to park like this. I'm going to take it out today and fix it, but as you can see, the other one is parking correctly. So today I'm going to take this one out, show you how to fix it and how to take it out. So the first thing I did is I have a wire. I had a rope before, but I didn't find it, so I have a wire which I have taped over here to the stock, so that now I can just pull on it and have these wipers function. As you can see, sometimes it will park correctly. I'll let those run, and right now it's parking correctly, and that's because when I took it out, I adjusted it when it was on a trickle charger. And that is not the way to adjust them. Most of the time you are not going to need to adjust them at all, and they will just park correctly after you fix them. But since I had it on the trickle charger, I kind of messed with it and adjusted it the wrong way. So if you do need to adjust them, the engine needs to be running, and that's the best way to adjust them. Now, before I take this apart, you can see I actually have an extra one here where I've cut the wire off. That's because the last time I had this unplugged, the pack rats decided to steal my connector.
Hello there.
Basically these stop working because they have a thermistor inside. These have a thermistor. We'll probably see if I have an old one, because I believe I threw them all away. But a thermistor is basically a resistor that the hotter it becomes, the more it resists. And this is what prevents these from overheating, but the thing is that these thermistors over time start to degrade, and that's why the wiper just stops getting power, stops getting the signal to turn on. And so in this video I'm just going to take out that thermistor. And one thing is, because you're taking it out, what I would not do is, if you know you're going to be holding the stock back a lot to clean your windshield, these wipers may actually overheat. And so in that case, you may not want to do this, but as long as you know that you can't just hold the stock back forever and it might burn these motors out, then everything will be fine. I've done this on my first car just about a decade ago, and they're still working perfectly fine. So, yeah. So to take the headlight out, they're going to take the corner light. There's a little clip right down there. Yeah, there it is. Push that in with a screwdriver and that will come out. And here there are 3 10mm bolts to take off. Before we continue, I should mention that the driver's side, or the left side of the car, because, well, that's the side you drive on the left side of the car, this wiper is very easy to take out. You just take out the headlight, there's 2 bolts, and the motor pulls out. But for the passenger side, or the left side of the car, here it's a little more difficult, and you need much more patience. Once I take that one off, I will tell you what you can do to take this one off, but it's much more challenging. You have to take the light out. There's 2 bolts holding this whole piece in, and you're going to have to undo 2 screws up here to be able to pull this out somewhat. You'll pull it out to about like that right there, and then you'll have to actually break a piece of plastic to take it out. I will go more in that once I get this headlight out. Okay, I've undone all the bolts to the light, but first we need to take the arm off here. So this uses an 8mm, and make sure to hold the arm in place when you undo that. Okay, now there's a bracket here right in the back. Make sure you leave that in, and or if you take that, remember to put it back in when you put the headlight back together. Here, this is the headlight wiper wiring. Now there's supposed to be a tube here surrounding this. I'm gonna see if I can find one in the garage and put one, because here the pack rats have taken them, and this is where I just soldered the new one in. But anyway, here's the wiper, and here are two 10mm bolts, and when you undo those, you could just pull it back out. Now, if you were doing the other side, let's go to the other side. Right down there, you can see there is a wiring harness there, and that is in the way for you to take it out. So here, you can slip it right out, it's fine, but on the other side you can't. So what I did on the other side is I undid these two bolts, pulled it out until it's over here. So this was over here. I also undid two bolts here. Let me see if I can get them. They're here. Maybe see them? Yeah, there you go. There's one there and one on the other side. You undo those two, and you'll be able to pull this out most of the way. And then what I did here is I broke a section here off on the other side.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
On the passenger side, or the right side of the car, and then you could pull it out. That's basically the only way to pull out. The other way is if you change the radiator, it will come out if you take the radiator out. Now these cars, the radiator doesn't really fail very often, unless you don't change the coolant often enough, or the plastic cracks. So you can wait for that, or break it. Now this has fiberglass in it, so if you're going to break pieces of it off, like I did on the other side, wear gloves, because your hands will sting otherwise. Now I would leave this like this, because this tube can break when you undo it, but I might undo it anyway. Okay, now that those two are undone, this should just slide right out. It won't. Still takes time to shimmy it out of there. And there it is. Now as you can see, I have opened it before because I fixed it before. Now I'm going to open it again, so it broke. This is a desert car though, so all the plastic on this car is very, very brittle. But I'm going to use two screwdrivers to pop that open. And there it is. It's now open. Now most of my clips are broken because again this is a desert car. Anyway, so right here there's supposed to be a thermistor. It's a little square. Not focusing, but right there you can see right in that hole right there. Maybe I'll get a picture of it and put it on. But there's two thin wires on each side here, and in the middle of them, to join those wires, there's supposed to be a thermistor. Now what I did is remove the thermistor and replaced it with the end of one of these. So I actually broke one of these open, and this tip finishes, it's about almost the whole length of this, about that long. And just use a sander, sand it down, put it in there, and then you're gonna have to keep trimming it until you can close the lid and it fits right in between of those two little bars right there, right where my finger is. More light, right there. You'll just keep trimming it until it fits perfectly in between those, and you can easily close this. Now, after you've done that, test it and make sure that it parks correctly, and if it doesn't, then there's an adjustment screw that I'm going to mess with right now. And again, when you test these, make sure the engine is running. And what I do is I'll put this down flat and put the arm on it, so that I can tell and see that it's parking right. Now this is right now we're doing the passenger side. Both motors, by the way, are exactly the same. They just park in a different position and they have a different front bracket. But this side you're probably not going to get it to park perfectly if you need to adjust it. And even if you look at the 850 and the S70s, C70 commercials, the driver's side wiper does not park correctly. It's always a little bit parked a little off. So this side is much more difficult to make it park correctly than the other side. The only difference is that rather than stopping down here, it just stops above, but I don't know why. Alright, I have moved on to a bigger charger because, believe it or not, but this car just ran out of gas. Anyway, but here, as you can see, this little screw right here, you're going to take a screwdriver and just gently turn it until it parks a little bit. And it doesn't take a lot of turns. I mean, you don't turn it all the way, but just inch it a little bit at a time, and then plug it back in, and you'll see. As you see, I took that out. I took the bar out here, little screw. Yeah. Now this is how I'm doing it. I unplug it and take this plate off, turn the screw a little bit, put the plate back on. You have to put the plate back on so that it holds it, otherwise it won't work. Alright, so now I got it where I wanted it to park. So since this car is out of gas, I'm gonna hook this wiper up to my other S70 with the engine running and just check that it parks correctly. Now, don't go crazy with the driver's side or the left side of the car because this one, it just won't park properly. You can get it very close, but you won't get it perfectly, I'm just saying. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and put it back in, and yeah. Now, if you took it apart, you probably dropped the little piece here that you can slide along. Just remember to put that piece back on the wiper. This bar, whatever you would call it. And yeah, it's pretty easy. Just two 10mm bolts there. There's three 10mm bolts for the headlight and the corner light, and you can just take it right out and fix it. Now, if you're going to do the other side, as I've said, it's much harder to do the other side. You could definitely still do it if you want both of your headlight wipers to work. But you're going to need a lot more patience for that other side. Alright, I'm going to put the headlight back on, and we can see both of these work.